Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about this consolidation pattern that we've been discussing for a little while here on the Bitcoin chart. Because if you've been watching the channel over the last week or so, you'll know that I've been discussing which direction this Bitcoin breakout is going to occur out of this consolidation pattern. And based on the tightening volatility and the lowering volume, it seems that a Bitcoin breakout here on the chart is going to be occurring in the next 24 to 48 hours. So this very well may be the last video that we get to do on this consolidation pattern before the breakout happens. In this video, we're going to be looking at the volume. We're going to be looking at volatility indicators and oscillators such as the RSI, MACD, and stochastic RSI, and we're going to be looking at multiple different moving averages to try and look at levels of support and resistance to try and get to the bottom of which direction Bitcoin is inevitably going to break out here in today's video. After that, we have a couple of news stories, one coming out of Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik Buterin. We're going to be discussing this later on, and we're also going to be talking about the hashtag deletecoinbase because you guys have probably heard about this, and I haven't covered it on the channel yet. Definitely an interesting story, so we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. But anyway, guys, before we get into today's video, if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like and hitting that subscribe button. You guys know it helps out the channel if you do it. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading around $3,810 on Coinbase and around $3,900 and some change on Bitfinex. And as we can see here, Bitcoin over the last several weeks has had a tendency to move into consolidation patterns quite a lot. We saw a consolidation pattern right there, and right there, and there. In yesterday's video, we discussed how all of these consolidation patterns broke and used that to try and determine what was going to happen here on this pattern. We're not going to be doing that analysis in today's video. If you want, you can click the link in the top right to go watch that video to get caught up on that. But I do want to point out just how close Bitcoin is here in this consolidation pattern, how much the volatility has dropped, and also how much the volume has dropped. As you guys know, volume analysis is really important for consolidation patterns, so we're going to be doing it again. Every time Bitcoin or any market goes into a consolidation pattern, you're typically going to see the volume drop off. We saw it happen here on this consolidation pattern. Volume dropped off, breakout came. Volume dropped off, breakout came. The same thing happens just about every single time a market enters a consolidation pattern. And while it's not the easiest thing in the world to draw a trend through data like this, it is pretty obvious that Bitcoin's volume has been dropping off consistently over the last week or so as Bitcoin moves closer and closer in on itself here in this consolidation pattern. So in this video, we want to discuss which direction Bitcoin is going to break since the breakout seems to be so close to occurring. The first thing I want to point out to you guys is actually here on the 4-hourly chart, and that would be the 20 exponential moving average here on the 4-hourly. You guys know I'm a big fan of this moving average, and it does tend to give you very strong signals on the daily chart, on the 4-hourly chart, the hourly chart, the weekly chart, and the monthly chart. It's a very important technical indicator that if you guys have been watching the channel for a long time, you'll know I'm a big fan of. And as we can see here, as Bitcoin was moving to the upside in this ascending wedge pattern right here, we could see that Bitcoin was, for the most part, above this level and was using it as a level of support. But recently, ever since Bitcoin broke bearish about a week ago or so, Bitcoin has been under or trading almost exactly around this 20 exponential moving average. And a lot of times, which direction Bitcoin is to which side of the 20 exponential moving average Bitcoin is on tends to be, it's kind of a momentum indicator. If Bitcoin has just gone below the 20 exponential moving average, a lot of times it's going to stay below the 20 exponential moving average. We want to keep that in mind because this is actually a very important level of resistance here on the 4-hourly. On the 1-hourly, it's not going to be as important, so we're not going to look down here. On the daily chart, however, we are going to see, interestingly enough, that Bitcoin is currently using this as a level of support. We're seeing a lot of conflicting evidence right here. I talked about this in yesterday's video about how we're seeing some conflicting evidence. I am slightly more bearish than bullish, as you guys know, but we do see that there's also support coming out of this technical indicator. One thing I also want to bring up is Heikin Ashi. If we go ahead and check this, we're going to see that Bitcoin is red on the Heikin Ashi. Bitcoin has been red for about a week or so, bar this little candlestick right here. And we've also seen a bearish cross on the MACD. That's a very bearish sign. When you see red Heikin Ashi and you see red MACD, those two signals are normally going to line up and say that there is going to be continued bearish price action. That being said, one thing I also want to point out is that stochastic RSI is on the floor right now and has been for a couple of days. And stochastic RSI, being an oscillator, a lot of times when it's hanging around one region, that means that it's getting closer to moving back up to the other region. So since stochastic RSI has been down here on the floor for a couple of days, every day that passes, we're getting more likely to be moving to the upside, and it's more likely that Bitcoin is going to have a bullish breakout of some kind. And considering there's a breakout coming in the next 48 hours, more than likely, it may be that the stochastic RSI is going to be conflicting with MACD, and it may be that the signal signal stochastic RSI is giving us, a bullish signal, is going to be the one that is valid and push Bitcoin to the upside. Now, guys, this is what I'm talking about here. We're seeing a lot of conflicting data, and it's never fun to do technical analysis on a chart when there's conflicting data like this. We have stochastic RSI and MACD telling us two completely different things. So this is where your own intuition has to come in. And this is the intuition I have. The intuition I have is that Bitcoin was trading very bullish for a couple of weeks here when it moved into this ascending wedge pattern right here. It was looking very bullish, but alas, Bitcoin was not able to sustain it and broke bearish. We fell out of this ascending wedge pattern, and a lot of times when you fall out of an ascending wedge pattern, you're going to fall quite some ways. And also, along with that case, we saw that the bulls very much had the momentum right here, but they weren't able to sustain it. The bears have taken over that control and are moving us to the downside. So even though we're having conflicting data in our oscillators and in some of our other technicals that we're going to be looking at in a second, I would say that more likely than not, we're going to see a bearish breakout. But guys, remember, this is like maybe a 55-60% chance. I'm not putting a very high percent chance on it. There's a very good chance that we break a bullish out here. As I outlined in yesterday's video, there's a pretty decent chance that we break a bullish out here and then fall over in the same manner that we did right over here and start moving down towards levels of support, which I would pin at this uptrend of support. I would be looking at levels of support somewhere around $3,450 to $3,500 here on the Bitcoin chart. All that being said, there's one more thing I want to show you guys, and that has to do with moving averages out here on the daily chart. If we bring up our 4 moving averages, then we'll see that a lot of them are sitting right under Bitcoin at the moment. As you can see, many of them, many moving averages are giving us support on the daily chart right here. This is not something to scoff at. This is not something to ignore. Bitcoin has a lot of support on these moving averages, and these are very important levels to be looking at. So, with all of this in mind, I want to throw the question back to you guys. Is Bitcoin going to break bullish, or is Bitcoin going to break bearish? I'm actually going to put a poll in the top right. I haven't done a poll recently, but I want to start doing those more. Which direction do you guys think Bitcoin is going to break out? Do you think it's going to break bullish, or do you think it's going to break bearish? And if you think it breaks bearish or bullish, which direction, how far in that direction do you think Bitcoin is going to move? I'd be interested to hear your opinions on that in the comments section down below. You guys know my opinion. Let's get a conversation going in the description, in the comments section down below. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on over to the news for today's video. Ethereum's co-founder Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum is a solution to Bitcoin's limited functionality. This is an interesting short little news article that I wanted to discuss as kind of a launching off point to discuss altcoin technology and the blockchain industry. Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin has stated he was trying to solve Bitcoin's limited functionality with the creation of Bitcoin, with the creation of Ethereum, according to an interview with Business Insider. What he says down here is, what I did is basically taking the same kind of smartphone idea that increases the power of a system by making it more general purpose and applying it to blockchains. And this really reminded me of a picture like this that I saw somewhere where it was a before and after picture, before smartphones and after smartphones, and this is the closest picture I could find to this. As you can see here, but this is kind of a promotional thing for Mac computers, but this applies to smartphones as well. As you can see here, we have our little smartphone on the right side, and the entire table is clear. But before we had smartphones, if you guys are over the age of, say, 30, imagine how much stuff was on your desk that is no longer there. You had your Rolodex, you had a bunch of notebooks, you had all kinds of things. You may have had a bunch of newspapers on your desk, you may have had a phone, you may have had all kinds of different things, an answering machine, not a photocopier, but a lot of different things on your desk that you simply don't need anymore. And I really find that an interesting comparison that Vitalik Buterin is making here is Ethereum being a smartphone to Bitcoin's calculator. That's what he said. During the interview, Buterin compared Bitcoin to a key calculator, stating it does one thing and it does it very well, which Bitcoin does do it very well. Well, he believes Ethereum is more like a smartphone, which can run apps capable of doing almost anything, including acting as a plot key calculator. And he cites the ability in this interview for Ethereum to run things like decentralized applications and many other things that can be built on top of Ethereum, because Ethereum is meant to be a foundation and a framework for future development by other developers, not just in the Ethereum development team, which I really like. And that's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of Ethereum. I don't have CoinMarketCap up today, but Ethereum has always done very well and has been doing very well for several years, due in large part to its versatility and due in large part to how many people are able to use it for so many different things. And I think as Bitcoin and the blockchain industry continue to develop, Ethereum and other foundational softwares like Ethereum that have the ability to launch decentralized applications are going to do very well. So I'm very happy to see that. Anyway, let's move on to the kind of dramatic news article here to wrap up today's video. Hashtag delete Coinbase. Now, guys, this is an interesting one because Coinbase, everybody kind of liked Coinbase up until about a week and a half ago. It was started in close to the end of February. This is a bit of a mess of an article, so we're going to try and work our way through this. Exchange users respond to acquisition of a firm run by former spyware developers. Last week, Coinbase announced that it had acquired Neutrino, a blockchain intelligence startup, which at first seemed like a regular purchase for the ever-growing United States cryptocurrency exchange. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Neutrino's key staff has been involved with Hacking Team, an Italy-based controversial outfit. This outfit was the same outfit that sold a lot of hacking software to many different governments, including the Ethiopian, Moroccan, the United Arab Emirates, and the United States government, along with the Drug Enforcement Administration, that being the DEA and the FBI, those all being among its customers. And it seems now that that Coinbase has acquired a company that has been founded by the same people that were working with this team. And this has really caused a massive uproar in the community. As we can scroll down here, we can read what the community is doing. Soon after Coinbase announced its acquisition, cryptocurrency community members started pointing out that Neutrino was founded by Hacking Team's former employees. For example, Amder Balit, co-founder and CEO of the startup Clover, and former lead of JP Morgan Chase's Blockchain Center of Excellence, BCOE, tweeted, when I said it would be great to have more InfoSec people involved in the crypto space, I didn't mean the largest U.S. exchange should acquire an analysis tools company run by a former Hacking Team member, but here we are. And lo and behold, for many different moral reasons and many different reasons of ethical business practice reasons, people are up in arms about this, and people are very upset about this. Guys, this is really just a weird story. I'm going to be covering this some more in the coming days. I do recommend you guys come here and read through this article, but Neutrino being acquired by Coinbase has actually led to a bunch of people running the hashtag delete Coinbase. While the number of people who have actually deleted their Coinbase accounts remains unknown, some users have reported having technical difficulties with deactivation. This is really interesting. People are trying to deactivate and delete their Coinbase accounts through outrage and because they're so upset about this, and many of them are having problems with this because they have dust in their wallets, which is, if you guys have used any kind of exchange before, you're probably familiar with the concept of dust. That's when you have just tiny little amounts of cryptocurrency. Maybe they're worth a penny or two, but you can't transact them because the exchange won't let you, since the fees won't be able to be covered from such a small transaction. So a bunch of people aren't able to close their Coinbase accounts because they have dust in their accounts. Guys, if you're ever trying to get rid of dust in an account, all you have to do, and that some exchanges make this harder, but most exchanges will make this pretty easy for you. All you have to do, buy like $5 worth of the cryptocurrency and then transfer everything, including every last Satoshi of Bitcoin, for example, out of the account, and then you'll get your dust gone, and then you can deal with it, especially on a platform like Coinbase where you don't have a whole lot of different crypto options. You're not going to have 20 different piles of dust sitting there. Anyway, guys, this is a really weird story. A lot of people are very upset at Coinbase. I think this is just everybody being grumpy that Coinbase didn't get a Super Bowl commercial, which I am pretty grumpy about myself. Anyway, guys, that is basically going to do it for today's video. I did want to cover this story. I want to cover this story in more depth in coming videos, but the video is getting a little bit long here, and it's such an odd story that I really want to give it the credit and do a much more in-depth bit of analysis on it. I want you guys to go and read this article and go and research this, because this is a really strange thing. The last thing I want to see in the cryptocurrency community is for everyone to turn against Coinbase, because Coinbase is a very big company in the cryptocurrency community, and we don't want to have a bad relationship with Coinbase, especially considering they are one of the largest exchanges in the cryptocurrency space. I would very much like to see the relationship with Coinbase and the crypto community remain untarnished moving on into the future. That being said, if Coinbase does something that everybody doesn't like, it's not our responsibility to just accept it. We can also be outraged. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be outraged whenever a big company does something wrong. I am just saying I would like for these kind of things to be resolved in a way that both parties are happy with. Anyway, guys, that is basically going to do it for today's video. I tried to expedite today's video a little bit more. I'm not going to be doing the crypto market recap anymore. You guys probably noticed we didn't do that in today's video, simply because I just don't think you guys are really enjoying it all that much, and it's taking up a bunch of time at the beginning of the video that I think could be better used for technical analysis and news. So tell me what you guys think about the new about the new layout of the videos. Tell me in the comment section down below. Also, guys, if you're interested in joining the Discord server where we have a great community, there's a link to check that out in the description down below. I love seeing you guys join the Discord server. Sometimes I don't have time to say hi to all of you, but I do try and respond to you. If you ever want to chat with me, just join the Discord server, type @CryptoJeb and whatever you want to say, and I'll be more than happy to have a little chat with you about anything you want. I will talk to you about video games. I will talk to you about cryptocurrency. I'll talk to you about literally anything. Anyway, guys, that is basically going to do it for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.